I just had to make a video today because I think this is just so hilarious. April Fool's Day, and the only fools are the Americans. Our government, the CDC, has told us in January and February, you do not need to wear a face mask, like it's some kind of harmful thing to wear a face mask. So here we are, beginning of April, and COVID-19 is everywhere. I'm self-employed. I really don't need money because I was smart. I'm using, like, here's a 25-year-old truck. And there is a 35-year-old car. I don't have any car payments is what I'm getting at. And I got somebody working on transmission of my Silverado. This truck right here is paid for. This is my B truck. This is paid for. Basically what I'm getting at is I have very little bills. I run a line of credit that costs me less than $100 a month. Just so if I need money for something, I go in and get money and I pay it back. But other than that, I don't have hardly any bills. I can live on $500 a month. That covers my car insurance, my liability insurance. I had a electrical customer call me today, and I talked him through the issue because I told him, well, I really don't want to go anywhere today. My wife has got chemotherapy, and I don't want to pick up the coronavirus anywhere. So I told him I'm a beekeeper, and the beekeeping business is nonstop, 24/7. This is the calm before the storm. It's about 40 out here right now. And I have been working I disked this a few days ago. I planted some more clover seed. I did this last year, and I did those sections over there last year. I'm working at getting a new growth of clover. And I've got weeds and stuff in here. As soon as these seeds start growing a little bit, get rooted, I'm going to go in and I'm going to dig out the weeds. I'm going to be really busy this summer. So that's why I'm saying this is the calm before the storm. And last summer I had 16-hour days with my mating nukes, going through checking them. Because you got to make sure when you do a mating nuke that your bees don't choose an old larva for the queen. You know, they choose to make a queen cell of an old larva, and you got to go in through and you got to destroy the queen cells when it's too early to destroy the queen cells. Oh, no, I got to make a comment. I have sleepy bees on my deck. Sleepy bee. He's taking a nap. Now, why the hell would he be sleeping? Because it's 40 degrees out here, and they come out when they think it's warm enough, and they land somewhere, and they find out that it's not warm enough for them to be out here. That's why at the end of the day, I go through and I gather up bees and I put them in small colonies. And then I see another video on YouTube. Somebody putting dry pollen out on the location for bees to go to, separate from the hive. If your bees can fly, you do not need to put pollen anywhere, because if you have trees, look at all those trees. You got maple trees, oak trees, willow trees, poplar trees. They all have pollen. My bees will go to these trees when it's warm enough. I don't need to give them any pollen. I ran out of pollen patty a couple days ago, and I don't need to buy any more. I probably should have had more, but I'm fine. I can make it through the next few days, and they will be bringing in all the pollen they need. They're pretty much self-sufficient, unless you have Russian bees. A lot of my bees got genetic heritage to Russian bees, and you have to do shit like this. Russian bees are the stupidest bees I've ever had. I had honeybees 4 years before I got involved with Russian bees, and let me tell you, Russian bees are the worst. They are not mite resistant. Don't believe that bullshit. It's not true. Russian bees are not mite resistant any more than any other honeybee. And here's one of my homemade hives. When I first started making them, it's not quite as good as it should be. I would have to glue a piece of wood on there, sand it down, and paint it again. But the bees enjoy getting out in that groove between the deeps. So again, out here, I disked this so I could plant some fresh seed. And I'll be working all summer long trying to maintain the weeds, or keep the weeds under control. You don't want them seeding out, making it worse for you the next year. I've got crap like this. I got all kinds of crap I need to do during the summer. I need to pull all this out. It creeps along the ground and it just infiltrates your clover and destroys what you planted. On the larger colony, I've taken out my feeder sim here because when in the spring they start building comb, and the shim you put in between the medium and the deep, and you don't want them doing that. I'm going to get ready to do that here in my smaller colonies. Probably this weekend, in a few days when it warms up. And I've got all kinds of food in my cellar. I do not need to go to the store. I've got meat in the freezer. If I need to shoot a deer or a rabbit, they're everywhere. I can go out and shoot whatever I need to eat. The nearest house to me is a 1/4 mile. I've got, well, I guess I've never shown this before. I don't trust the government, and I don't want them spying on me. You know, I've got, on my property, I've got a covered pathway. Drones and satellites cannot see me walking around my property here, and there are no houses near me. There's no road near me, and I've been told that I'm dangerous. Some of the comments I made on YouTube, yeah, damn right I'm dangerous. Because I know how stupid Americans are. When they can't find food at the grocery store and the grocery stores are closed, they're going to be here trying to steal my food, and I'm going to have to shoot them. I'm ready for that. Every man has to fend for himself and his family. If you want to survive, it's the survival of the fittest. The dumb ones are the ones that aren't wearing face masks at this time and what's the events going on. There's still a lot of people running around in stores not wearing face masks. Those are the dumb ones. My wife and I have been wearing face masks for several weeks now. And we haven't been in a store for over almost 2 weeks now. We stocked up and we're ready. And I've got all kinds of things I'm going to be doing here with the bees. So I'm going to be busy with bees. It's supposed to warm up tomorrow. And my bees are going to start expanding, and I'm going to be adding frames. I've downsized a lot in the last few weeks. I'm going to be adding frames to them. Even number 4 there. Sometimes you open up a hive and you're shocked to see what the hell happened. You know, they've actually gotten a whole lot smaller. They have a queen, and I haven't quite figured out what the hell is going on. She's been laying, she's doing a good job laying, but for some reason, this was a colony that decided to make their own queen last May or April on their own. And I've given them pollen just to make sure, pollen patty just to make sure there's not a lot of workers in there for them to go get pollen, to make sure they can try to catch up. And if I need to add a frame of brood here in a few weeks or a few days, I'm going to do that, because it really helps when you add a frame of brood to a colony. This colony here was in really bad shape. This was my worst colony, and I added a frame of brood to that. Look at that. They're going to be all set here in a few weeks. They're going to be growing. And you got to make sure, because I breed my own colonies, and because that Formic Pro didn't work last fall, a lot of my smaller colonies had a hard time getting through winter. So you got to make sure you have enough bees in your colonies for the queen to lay, and there got to be enough to generate enough heat to turn those eggs into larvae, because if they don't generate enough heat to turn those eggs into larvae, you got to find eggs all the time. You never find any larvae in that colony, and the reason is because they're not warm enough. You're just wasting time. What does this one look like? This is another one of my smaller colonies, but they're doing all right at this point. But the ones outside, they're fine unless it gets below freezing. There's a few out there, and those are the ones with the straps. If it gets below freezing and I'm concerned about them, I go ahead and bring them in. It takes me 10 minutes. 10 minutes to bring these bees in. And that saves the colony. I do not buy honeybees. I do not buy queens, packages, or nukes. I breed my own, and because Formic Pro didn't work last fall, I've had issues with keeping them going. But now that I switched to acetic acid, I'll have a better year as long as that acetic acid keeps working. Okay, thank you.